All right, doing a quasi live working session, the nuclear war simulator, and so also updating my printer at the same time, among a few other things. So most of my sims are all based on this kind of baseline scenario where I edited based on current nuclear force dispositions among the nuclear armed nations. So that way I don't have to mess around with it. I kind of made this as a base. See, it's kind of uploading. So these are realistically operationally deployed with, some caveats that, we have to do kind of best of our knowledge type of thing. And that's across all countries. So we have, for what we have, I mean, not all the stuff's in here, but, we have like um, North Korea. And again, it's best as we can tell. I have to keep an eye since I'm actually putting myself in this video. I don't normally do that. I'm updating my laptop. I'm updating my printer. Doing a couple things. So when I'm making a scenario, you see I put all my subs right here because then I can deploy them as I want. Those are all the strategic subs. There's some for Russia and the United States. There's some, Britain and France and stuff. There's some warships. Like these are conventionally armed, which is not something they really do very well here, but I put it in here. So this AGM 86B conventional. So when they don't have what I need, I go over to the blueprints and open up the blueprints. And that's where I make what I need. So for instance, if you look at their stock, so their stock for the W-88 Trident II missile, this says 5 times. They actually have 8 warheads on it. So it says 5 times, but there's 8 warheads built in. So then what I did was I made one with 5 warheads. So it's realistic. You see here, I actually have Moab. So I did that based on what they believe the yield size is, equivalency. I made a Moab. So right here. So again, yield, just a fraction of a kiloton, no fission, fraction, so no radiation and stuff. And so I kind of, again, I did the best I could with that to model some conventional stuff. So if I wanted to test, okay, what is the destructive capabilities of Moab, and let's compare it to the smallest nuclear warhead. So I'm going to do a single attack here, single detonation. Do a Moab, and I'll just put it right over this dot right here. And we'll do 500 feet. And it'll pop up and it'll say 207 fatalities. Now let's compare that to, let's see what our smallest one here is. Do they have the Davy Crockett? I'm going to go with the smallest deployed one right now by the United States, which is the 6 kiloton. Let's compare it. I'm just going right over here. I mean, so they've already got some casualties. Let's compare those. So, say it's almost like not fair, the nuclear one, because you've already bombed it. Now you compare 207 casualties to 27,000 casualties. So if anyone ever asks, well, is like our largest conventional bombs, are they the equivalents of small yield nuclear weapons? No, not at all. Not even close. Nuclear weapons are very effective. That's why they cannot be used. So what do you want to do? So if I want to if I have a weapon and say it's not there, and let's just say the United States has developed a new air-launched bomb. So say right now we have the B-83, which is a 1,200 kiloton yield. And we have a 340 kiloton, a 45 kiloton, 50 kiloton, and a 400 kiloton here. So let's say this is an older one, 25 megaton. Let's say we develop one that's a half a kiloton, very low yield. So if I want to do that, what I'll do is I'll highlight one of these, and I will copy. Then I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to pipe in here new low yield gravity. Type in new, highlight that. Then there, I'm just going to click, move it over so you can see it. Just going to click paste. So I copied the other one, so I pasted this one in here. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this now to 0.5. Save. Let's say this is developed in such a fashion. I'm going to drop this to 25%. Just making stuff up now. So this is going to be probably too high right here. So let me find something closer. I don't know. I guess it's kind of staying. Let's just keep it, I guess, the same there. Anyways, now I have a new low yield bomb. So if I want to, say I'm going to take a bomber. Let's go here. Let's go stealth bomber. Scroll down to gravity bombs. And I may have to, let me just go ahead and main menu, save scenario, test 1, save a sandbox. Come back out here. Let's go load scenario. See my scenarios. And it's not there. This isn't the first time I've had this issue. You know what? I'll just reload realistic 6. Sometimes there's little quirks in the system. So I'm going to come back here. Let me find this bomber. Still not there. I have to remind me, I haven't done this in a bit because I have most of the stuff. Blueprints. Oh, here's why. So I think I have to, so let me take an existing one here. So what I have to do is I have to make a bomb for that warhead and add it to that warhead. You can't edit their plain ones. What I can do is gravity, I'm going to add this, I'm going to say bomb here. I'm going to copy this bomb, add a new one, paste, remove this, add this, and then save. So now I have an available bomb. See, that's why it's tricky. Sometimes I gotta remind myself that you have to provide everything you need. So let's say I'm gonna remove 1. Make space for this one. So now it's there. Now I'm gonna save. Now I'm gonna target And I'm only going to utilize this one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here to Budapest. And I'm going to target that same location. So we compared there. Let's go to done. Let's go ahead and fire it up. Go ahead and take off. It's going to take off. It's going to come here and bomb that same location we hit with the Moab and we hit with the 6 kilotons. So now we can compare the Moab to a 0.5 kiloton. All right. 6,000. So 207 deaths to 6,000, almost 7,000 deaths. Major difference. That's a 0.5 kiloton warhead yield size. Now, mind you, that we have 1.2 megaton warheads. Don't know if this one's got one on it. Does this have the 83? Yes, it does. So I'm going to do something now. I'm going to come back and I'm going to drop the megaton one on it. Same location. So it's already going to suffer some casualties. Let's see what happens with this one. Done. Execute. Let's go ahead and send it back over. Just send it. Get in a nice close view. Ooh. Let's take a look here. Almost 1 million deaths. Even in you have Ukraine hitting with fallout, Slovakia. So you see the scalability of damage there. You went from Moab with 207 casualties. You went up about 7,000 with the 0.5 kiloton, up to 27,000, I think, whatever it was, with the 6 kiloton. Now the 1.2 megaton, up to 1 million. But that's how you create different weapon systems. And sometimes you have to scale it the entire way. So like Russia. One thing I noticed in the sim, a lot of Russian mobile launchers with the SS-27 have 3 warheads. But in the sim, that's not available. So what I did was, I had to start under blueprints, always under blueprints. And you got to start at your base, which will be your mobile launcher. So you see here, I have one designed with 2.3. So let's say they start fielding 5 warheads. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say SS-27 mod 2 times 5 warheads. Make it new. Come back here. Copy. Come back here. Paste. So now you see it's here and it's got the ballistic missile. So now I created the mobile launcher. Now I got to create the missile. So I'll come over here to the ballistic missiles. Same thing. And I'm just going to copy, new, click on this, paste, and now I've got this. Now all I have to do here is, since I've already got the warhead, I don't have to create a new warhead. I can just change this number to 5, save, come back to the ballistic or the missile launcher, come back up here to this, and now I swap out and remove the 2 times 3 warheads and add the 5 times warhead. Save. So now I want to deploy, so I'm going to say unit placement, come over here, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab surface. I'm going to look at mobile bases. I'm going to click on this one, and I want to deploy a mobile base with 5 of these. So I'm going to say 5. Dispersion ratio, take that down to like 10 kilometers. Boom. Which doesn't matter because I'm only doing one base, so the dispersion's not really that big a deal. If I wanted to do multiple ones, so say I want to do 5 of these, this is where the dispersion comes in. So 5 of 5. So now I have 5 of these units. Now if I were to put this out here to 50, you'll see that they'll be more spread out. Oops. There you see, more spread out. Sorry. So that's how you can edit units. You can virtually create anything you need. You look at Wikipedia, it's going to tell you the stats, and you can create any weapon systems you need. And so if you want to model out like Cuban Missile Crisis, you can create the weapon systems like the Atlas and the other stuff at that time. You just got to know the thing, come over to blueprints, and copy, paste, edit, do whatever you need to do. You can work from the ground up even if you want to with a blank slate. I find it easier just to copy and paste and move stuff over. So any weapon system you can think of. The trickier part's going to be ballistic missile defense. I'm not sure, but you could probably do that. So like in this sim, they don't have the ground-based mid-course interceptor. They have THAAD and they have Patriot. Well, I could, in theory, try to create the ground-based mid-course interceptor with that, and I probably will at some point. I'm not going to do that right now. So once you create all the units you want, so now I want to do a simple attack plan. So I'm going to highlight these. I'm going to target. Let me just move these out of the way a little bit. Move that out of the way so you can't see it, but just understand it's there. So I'm going to attack the United States. Simplest way is come down here and say I want to do a counter value strike. Click on counter value, list of countries. So I want to do United States. So I'm going to add to targeted. Once I've added to targeted, I click distribute warheads on selected. Boom. Click done. So now you see, I only highlighted one of these though. So it only distributed for the one missile system. So say I want to do all of them. Come down here, click that, click shift. Now I've highlighted all of them. Click counter value again. Same thing, distribute warheads on selected. Done. So now, you're going to see that. So I'm going to say plan A, done. So you see now, with that set of 5 mobile launch sites, each with 5 ballistic missiles, each with 5 warheads, I have targeted, what would that be? 5 times 5, 25 times 5, 125 counter value military locations. Go to execute all plans. Click boom. You're going to see these bad boys launch. They're going to take off. Just do this. And they're going to hit these locations. If they don't malfunction or any of the other weird stuff that can happen. Boom, boom, boom. Now, of course, you have running some casualties here. So now you have 6.6 million US losses, 2.1% of its population. That lets the AI choose your targets. What if you don't want the AI to choose your targets? So now it's like, okay, I want to do the targeting myself. So let's, I'm going to choose something a little more reasonable. So let's go, I'm going to highlight this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move a couple of these so I can just highlight them myself, just to deal with these ones. I'm not trying to deal with several launch systems. So now I'm going to target. So instead of doing counter force, counter value here, I just leave it on the screen. I zoom out. I come over here and I say, you know what? I set, okay, I want to do these 200, to detonate at 200 meters. Do one at Washington. Now, being a MIRVed vehicle, you're going to have to make sure that you're targeting other ones here within this radius until you jump to the next missile. So I'll have this, after this third one, I can then target wherever the total range of it is. And let's just go ahead and do this one. So I did that one. Now let's say this missile here, we're going to go for counter value or counter value. I'm going to do a surface burst too. And then I'm going to do a higher burst at 500. So I just change that number. And let's do that. Final missile, this can come down here. And let's do Virginia Beach, big naval base. So let's do high yield or high burst, medium burst, and a surface burst. So at that point, I've targeted everything. It's flipped back to the top one. So I come over here. I decide to call this Russian Limited Strike. Done. I can choose if I want this to run 120 minutes in sim or just do whenever. I'm just going to do whatever here. Boom, hit it. I can always double check everything, but it's already going off because I have it set to run something crazy. So that's how you can do your different things. So a little quick introduction on some of the more advanced usages, and I will do a couple more videos later. Thanks, everybody.